Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the northwest corner of the map, playing in red, we've got Demu representing Team Liquid, playing as the Jui Legacy. And his opponent in the southeast, playing in blue, we've got none other than Core, playing as the Roos. Welcome everyone to highview. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day, and we're going to be having a cracking game on highview. I've got to say, we haven't seen this map in a long time. Kind of excited for it, especially with the Roos. Civilization that's pretty strong on highview, considering the fact they're getting multiple scouts and there's obviously a lot of stealth forest on the field. So they kind of, having the extra scouts definitely does help. Now, possibly going to seeing a second scout anyway, to be fair. For the Jui Legacy, yep, definitely going to be opening up with a second scout. Just to contest the hunt, trying to challenge the bounty and get those walls. I gotta say though, game plan wise, it's kind of an interesting matchup, right? You got the Jui Legacy that are typically now focusing more on a castle age and then possibly adding in second town centers afterwards. Courtesy of the Tang Dynasty, they do get the tech ups to the next stage a lot cheaper. It's actually a really nice boost that they get. They've got a very fast castle. Could be an option for them. The Roos though typically do have a similar sort of timings on that. I mean, they can get away with the second town center as well. Courtesy of their great economy, being able to get early eco upgrades like wheelbarrow potentially, nice and early courtesy of the bounty system. Something that you could look to try and challenge and match in this particular matchup. What's kind of curious in Age of Empires 4 at the moment, there's been definitely a shift in playstyle. A lot of civilizations that can do it do typically go for that castle age and then add town centers afterwards. Despite being able to get town centers in the feudal age, a lot of civilizations actually generally opt to get it in the castle age once they've contested for those relics. Because of course the relics do play a very key role, a massive eco boost, but also great for the late game of course to get that edge on your opponent. Speaking of gold, actually, the Roos obviously get the passive gold generation from the hunting cabins, which again definitely helps in that late game. And it will be getting wheelbarrow nice and early. I mean, he might actually unclick this because he's a little bit behind on gold, and it doesn't really seem to be getting that much bounty here at all quickly. So I'm curious to see if actually Cord cancels wheelbarrow, gets the tech up, and then gets wheelbarrow afterwards. Yeah, he cancels it, and then he's going to build the Kremlin. It makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. Kremlin position, really quite nice actually, going to be protecting that wood line, the gold and the berries. Leaves the right side a little bit exposed, but can't protect everything, can you? Gotta make your choices. On the other side of the map, the Jui Legacy got a nice back gold, which would be great for that kind of fast castle play. We did sometimes see actually the Roos open up with maybe one knight. It's a heavy investment though. You have to build obviously a stable and then make the knight to be aggressive with. But it looks like with the back gold should be relatively safe here, Demu. Going for the meditation guns in an interesting spot. Going to get access to the gold, stone, and also berries, and a little bit of wood as well. Added in for good measure. But on a map like highview, lots of things can happen without the opponents knowing, so they do have to make sure they're paying attention to what's happening on the map. Now, speaking about fast castle and relics, that's something we've kind of already talked about in this matchup. Could become quite important. The relics, they're pretty, they're kind of evenly spread. I mean, I feel like some of it kind of favors Demu actually a little bit. Like, it feels like you've got this one that's kind of on Demu's side, this one on Core's side. You've got two in the middle, and then this random fifth one way over the left side, definitely favoring Demu. So if you can get them pretty quickly, that'll definitely favor him in towards the late game. Now, bear in mind, not only the Tang Dynasty gets some of the cheaper tech up to the Castle Age, and the feudal age as it happens, they are able to get the bald men, the Shaolin monks, from the landmark, so they can really get those relics in quickly. Kind of curious to see if he does actually off to play for that. I mean, it looks like it's going to be one town center play actually for Core. Looking to match that and go for that fast castle to pick up relics. Yeah, definitely with this number of villages and gold. Like, you could make an argument the gold villages are possibly for some knights, but 5 of them is a little bit excessive, considering it does get some passive generation from gold anyway. And take a look back at home with the Jui Legacy getting wheelbarrow at the moment, and the meditation gardens is up and running. So we'll get a bit of passive generation of course from that. And does manage to snipe the scout, so Demu down to 1 scout. Can limit that information coming on in. Looks like the village is coming out to the south side to get the boar and the deer camp and the berries. I mean, this would have been an absolutely epic location for a second town center, but that's not what's happening today with the Roos. He's going to move out and just go the old fashioned way. Drop a hunting cabin. Maybe a wooden fortress and work through that way. Alright, wheelbarrow coming in for core. And actually, to be fair, he's actually going to opt for a stable. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to go for a fast castle, but certainly looking to get some units out quickly. The boar successfully taken. Nice bit of bounty, nice bit of gold injection as well. It's going to be a relatively slow start, I think, for both players, but that's fine, because as we know in Age of Empires 4, when things do start slow, they generally, when they do pick up pace, they get a little bit out of hand at times and can start to escalate, so hopefully we'll see that today. And also, it's really great to see a lot of people watching in live on Twitch these days. Thank you so much for the support, and on YouTube, of course. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all your support, guys. Whether it be on Twitch or YouTube doesn't really matter. I definitely appreciate the support either way. Survival techniques coming in for core just to make that food come in a little bit quicker. I say a little bit, it's actually quite a lot. Demu keeping an eye on this position. It does look like it's going to go just for a straight fast castle, though. And it's going to get really good timing on this. Look at this. He's going to start building out in 6 minutes, 23 seconds. That's absolutely bonkers. It's going to go with the Shaolin Monastery as you'd expect. And core, I mean, with one town centre, he won't be too far behind. Has got the stable. Hasn't yet. He has got a knight. There it is. Moving across the map. Down in the middle. Question is, what can he hit? I mean, potentially could try and tackle and hit that gold vein. There's no villages there right now. Bear in mind as well, the Shaolin monks actually cost food to make, not gold at all. That's a key bit of detail, because obviously, you know, you're going to be short on gold most of the time, but the monks, they don't need gold to be made, so they can get out there on the field pretty quickly. Ooh, what's this sneaky villager off to? Where is she off to? Okay, looking to wall up some of those relics, right? Recognizing the timing on this is just going to be far superior for demo. And because of that, it does look to try and wall in some of the relics that are closest to him. And does have a knight as well, just to pick him off. Now, if he does get this walled up, it would be quite an idea to move that knight to another relic, for sure. He's going to start torching down the meditation gardens. We'll kind of devalue that a little bit. Knight just keeping an eye on things. Scout, pretty low on health, actually, for Demon. So he's got to be careful. There is the Shaolin Monk, which can attack, by the way. One of very few kind of religious units that can do this. But certainly, it's actually going to be quite important for the game, actually, because it heals itself, crazily enough. A lot of the other religious units actually heal others, but the Shaolin Monk all about himself. And can actually heal himself up and actually do a lot of damage, bear in mind. It's got 170 HP, 15 damage. Melee damage, not too shabby. Oh, it's going to be a close one, actually. Should get out of there just about. It was a scout anyway that was training behind. So it wouldn't have been too terrible if he lost that. Trying to get the relic on the west side. But look how much damage it does to the scout, right? That's not a fight that core can take. Managed to back away with 4 HP, so it keeps him alive. Just about. Okay, starting to add more knights now. It's going to go up to the next stage with the high trade house in a decent spot. As, I mean, to be fair, I mean, imagine the high trade house here. That would have been absolute epic, how much gold it would have got in. But nevertheless, a bit closer to home this one. 38 trees on this one. And it's looking to pick up the relic on the west side now. Should be able to get this one, but does give the notification away, right? Because he activated the sacred site. First relic brought on in. It is a bit of an observer bug on the on capture age. It doesn't unfortunately show the relic actually in play when it's taken by a Shaolin monk like that. Alright, starting to add in some archery rangers. Going for that typical armor composition. I mean, he could potentially go for horse archers, actually. I was going to mention, maybe he's going for knights archers, but it could potentially be horse archers, which would be pretty cool to see out of the roost. We used to see it a lot in the early stages of Age of Empires 4, where they were a little bit OP, they were a little bit broken. They've since been tuned down, of course. But definitely pretty cool to see them still possibly an option for them. Should be able to snipe a villager here with a knight. Villagers managed to garrison inside the village, actually, in the end. Managed to keep him alive. And look how many Shaolin monks he's making. He's going to be actually making it into a bit of an army, I gotta say. Now, barrier is about to be expired, so possibly could be looking to venture out to the deer camp, but look at this, core keeping an eye on all of that. And that will force the Jui Legacy possibly into the Song Dynasty and farms, right? There's the Mount Lu Academy instead, actually. Right, diving on in. Does get too much value. There's a couple of spearmen being added in now as well. So I do wonder whether the Rus will actually start adding some siege, right? Because Demu's gone for a very sort of infantry-based army. So some siege possibly could make a difference here. Looking to get the sacred site in the middle. Should be able to get that pretty safely, actually, with the spearmen. Oh, good pick off on the villagers and berries. Maybe some more might be falling down pretty soon as well. There's a second. Possibly a third. Wallow out, diving a bit too close. Caught. Wait, he's got to get out of there. He gets out of there just in time. Well, actually, to be fair, he had a bit of buffering there. Might lose one knight in the retreat. No, manages to survive with it. He's killed a couple of villagers now, Core. So good start for him. But the big problem is he's given away, obviously, 3 relics. I say given away. It's more that Demu's taken them. He's tried his best to try and deny the relics being taken, but, you know, with this number of Shaolin monks, the great thing is they can double up as a religious unit and also, obviously, a bit of military too. Makes a big difference for sure. Oh, there's the Wallow. Should be able to escape it. The thing is, the religious units don't actually get converted as far as I know. There we are, yeah. There's proof and confirmation. The board men, they cannot be converted. So it's kind of stuck in a way, right, because of the spearmen. Now let's take a look at home. What's happened with the archer rangers? Is he actually making horse archers? There's the first of a couple, yeah. He's making a few of them now. They'll do a decent job against the spearmen and the baldmen, the Shaolin monks, but it's going to get close enough. Takes out the Shaolin monk on the right side, and the gold income is going to be looking really hefty here for Demu, despite not having any villages on gold. Let's take a look, actually. 600 per minute. It's pretty good, all things considered. He actually went for the Yuan dynasty as well, which is kind of incredible. So it's going to have an increased movement speed of his infantry. In fact, actually, that's actually for the Chinese. I can't quite totally remember what they get for the Yuan dynasty. I'm going to have a quick check on that, actually, I think. Alright, just going to look to deactivate that sacred site in the middle. Oh, that's it, yeah. So, the Yuan dynasty, actually, for the Jui Legacy, gives them a bit of a discount on their units, rather than any sort of military bonus as such, direct ones anyway. Of course, the Chinese Yuan dynasty gives them quite a bit of a different thing, with the extra movement speed of the infantry. But yeah, making the units cheaper, definitely going to be helping him mass them up a little bit now. Looking to get the supervision by the Imperial officials super improved as well, which is actually kind of incredible, right? 150% to 300, so the eco will be absolutely scaling incredibly well for the Jui Legacy very shortly. I wouldn't be surprised if he does then look to actually go for the Song Dynasty afterwards to make those farms a little bit cheaper. We'll see what Demu's up to, what he's cooking. Either way, relying on the deer camp on the south area of his base and walling it up as well. So getting to the stage of the game where it actually looks like Core is massing up for a big timing attack, a big push possibly. Obviously the contestation for the relics has already happened. Potentially could start to see players go for a second town centre. Almost feels like it for the Jui Legacy. He's collecting stone. It could potentially be for a keep. Time will tell. He's got plenty of wood in the bag. It feels like he's going for a second town centre. There it is. There's a Jiangdang Tower. So we'll be going for the Song Dynasty after this. It's kind of cool to see, actually, right? This kind of play with the Jui Legacy, stick in the Tang Dynasty, go for the castle age, pick up as many relics as possible, put a bit of pressure on the map, get the Yuan Dynasty, get some really important upgrades, get some more units, and then pivot to the Song Dynasty when you need those farms. Alright, here come the horse archers mass. It's actually going to be kind of scary for Demu to see, right? I don't think he actually knows this is happening. Gets the other ball. He's got to get prepared. Of course, archers would be a nice play. Chukunu, obviously a great unit in this sort of scenario. And there's the second town setter for the Jui Legacy. He might be caught a little bit, right? Because Core has stayed on 1 TC for a significant period of time, and he's massing up units. But that deer camp has slowly been taken. And the bonuses for the extra supervision. I mean, that food income is going to be off the charts. Look at this. No farming economy at all, but it's still 1,400 food per minute. And the strength of that really lies in the fact that he's got quite heavy food units, right? Spearmen, pretty costly on food. Then you got the Shaolin monks as well. Iron Undermesh. Balance projectiles comes in for core, so he's really focusing on those blacksmith upgrades. And Siege Workshop as well, so yeah, definitely looking to eye up a push soon enough. Demu though, he'd be kind of happy with the lack of aggression coming his way because he's just doing his thing, right? He's booming away, getting the economy set up and working from there. Still decent number of units though, in case he does get attacked. Alright, second town center though coming out for the Rus. Just to scale that economy a little bit more as well. And it's a good timing, right? Because not a lot is happening just yet. Pretty passive game so far, but you know, as we say, when things are passive at the beginning, they definitely tend to heat on up. 8,000 gold veins, right in the middle of the map. Which actually, in fact, where's the second one? Wait, hello? Huh? Is there only one? Wait. That looks like it's bugged actually, because there should be two. Oh, it's there, right in the corner. That's just super weird, right? Like, I gotta say, the map generation spawn looks super strange. Like, in terms of the relics, they were kind of favoring demo side, but also the gold vein. Like, that's kind of absurd, right? It's right on his side of the map. Yeah, I'd be pretty annoyed about that, because that's a big chunk of the gold that's on the map. Either way, Core giving his position away and how many units he's got. Demu. Is he really going to the Imperial Age right now? He's going to be under pressure. He's going to try and maximize the tech up advantage and the quality of units that he can pop out. To be fair though, with decent number of units he's got, if he can upgrade them to the elite status, that'd be kind of huge. Will he have enough resources to do so? That's the big question, really. Meditation gun's just about to go down, and bear in mind, landmark sniping is almost not impossible, but be super tricky to do as the Rus, right? There's just way too many landmarks that they've got, the Jui Legacy. There's the first of them, and there's the Imperial Age. And I think now with that tech up, the Imperial Age Core's probably going to think, well, we've got to go now. Time is now. Does have one mangonel added into the fight, but is he just going to try and torch everything down? Don't know if he's got siege engineering, but possibly could thinking about getting some rams if he does. Diving on in. Good number of spearmen though. Horse archers need to focus on them as well as the mangonels. He's taking the engagement here. Good number of horse archers. Mangonels moving a bit closer. Diving on in. He might be looking to pick off some villagers actually here. That could be a good way to win this game. Good mangonel shot, but doesn't quite land where he wants to. Killed all the villagers mostly anyway. They moved out of the way. Oh, horse archers kind of getting... Oh god, that's not great. I mean, he's kind of going head on with those spearmen, which is not really what he wants. Oh, villagers going to get on the mangonel. Oh, that's unfortunate. He left it, but I don't know why he's not surrounding it. That is a bit of a misplay. He might be looking elsewhere. Might have been macroing, but he loses one mangonel, possibly loses a second, and should be able to survive with the second for now. But that felt like that fight could have gone a lot better. He's keeping a lot of the economy idled, but I mean, Demu, to be fair, he's losing a lot of villagers as well. But he's starting to thin down the numbers of the army. Mangonel, great shot. You can imagine how it'd be if he had two mangonels at this point. Oh, that wood line. Or was that just mangonels? Oh, Demu, he's in all sorts of trouble. I mean, even if he survives this, if the army goes down, it feels like Core has actually done a lot of damage. Another mangonel added into the mix. Although the defender's advantage now starting to come to play at this point. It feels like Core can't necessarily do too much more damage. It does take out the market, so balancing the economy going to be becoming a little bit more tricky. Floating a lot of gold, of course, courtesy of the 3 relics. And single sacred site. Looks like the Chukunu now will look to try and snipe the mangonel, trying to get to the minimum distance. The rally point probably needs to be fixed here. That could be a mangonel given away for free for Core. A little bit sloppy. It's going to deploy and just take the fight anyway. It's probably kind of caught, right? Because the Shaolin monks will jump on top of that. Either way, the horse archers still getting so much value. 43 villagers killed so far. Oh god, this is a massive push. I mean, Demu's kind of struggling. Down to 33 villagers, down to 9 military. Is there really a way back from this? I mean, he's not tapping out. He's sticking with it. For now, at least. And Core continues to trickle in units. All such a number still decent-ish. Running around. And he might still pick up even more villagers. 56 killed so far. And getting a defensive keep. It's actually kind of a strong position, right? Because that's the main way into the farming economy. As I say that, there's not much of that left. Speaking of which, some horse archers remain in the fight, some have left. Probably just as well, because it doesn't really feel like he can take too great a fight at the moment. It looks like Core is going to regroup and go up to the Imperial Age with the high armory, having dished out all sorts of damage. And adding added that second town center earlier, so his economy will start to scale at equal speed as the Jui Legacy. I can't help but think Core should really just start to keep pushing on forward with heavily armored units. And once the upgrades come in, I guess. Oh, 2 Shaolin monks. Maybe they can just get better scouting information more than anything. Gets away with it. Horse archers didn't spot it in the end. The farms, though, are being started to pre-populate again, which is ideal because he definitely wants that food economy to rebuild his economy. Gonna need plenty of food, obviously, for the villagers to build up again. Numbers to keep the 2 town centers running. The Core kind of giving a bit of breathing space to demo, I gotta say. I think a couple more horse archers could be quite useful to try and keep on raiding. But this pivot into the Chukunu for the Jui Legacy does mean that maybe he's got to make a little bit of a switch away from horse archers potentially here, Core rather. Doesn't feel like he can stay on that forever. Now, one thing to consider as well, going up to the Imperial Edge at this sort of time, 22 minutes, is kind of, it's an awkward situation for the Rus, right? Because there comes a point where the Rus actually have to make a very, very big farming transition. And it feels like we're heading to that position now, right? Last of the berries, boars have been taken. The deer has been taken. So yeah, it's going to need a farming transition, which actually gives a lot of breathing space now for Demu. And in that breathing space, he's going to try and make a fight of it. He's actually going to be walling on up to stop any further push coming on the west side to protect the farming economy. And strangely enough, Demu is actually not out of this. Like, if he can survive the next 15-20 minutes, his economy will scale to a point where actually both players will have a relatively equal economy, and Core having a greater economy at this stage now becomes a lot less significant. Becomes a lot less relevant. Shaolin Monk bears the brunt of the mangonels. The mangonels certainly will do a great job against the Chukunu. The bald mound, the Shaolin Monks though, they can tank quite a bit from them. It's difficult to see what the main army is. It looks like it's going to be Streltsy horse archers potentially. It's kind of curious, right? 2 types of ranged units. Typically you see sort of 1 meat shield and 1 ranged unit. But yeah, it definitely looks like it's going to need a farming transition so far soon. That's the 2 goals at the back, and this is where the 8,000 tiled gold veins actually start to become a bit more prominent as well, right? 23, 24 minutes into the game. Both players will need to try and secure those. Both players are, well, actually, to be fair, Core's actually not mining stone. It's Demu who's mining stone at the moment. Slowly but surely, going to be working his way to a second keep, most likely. And getting a siege workshop as well. To add in some Nester Bees could be powerful, actually. In the fight that's about to come on his way. Especially against a Streltsy, right? A big plate into siege, 2 bombards, 2 mangonels, a couple of springalds as well. Getting another bombard. Things you've got to have army to protect them, right? It's one thing having siege, it's one thing having siege with infantry to protect. Definitely need it. Definitely need it. Now, having those 2 sacred sites is actually kind of important, right? Goes a long way to try and nullify the relic gold that Demu's getting from the 3 relics, compared to the 2 that Core has. Oh, bit of an overreaction. I mean, could the villagers actually fight that? Maybe not. I mean, these Shaolin monks are pretty tanky right now. Look at 252 health, 19 damage. That's actually really pretty significant. When you consider the HP of Streltsy is only 130. Just how tanky these guys are is incredible. I mean, it's actually got more health than, or just almost similar sort of health as a knight. I gotta say though, it feels like Core's being pretty passive with his army. Doesn't feel happy with his chances right now. It's actually got, wait, is that no, that's the second town center. Fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, he looks like he wants to try to max out his population. Feels confident that they should be pretty ahead, but you know, the difference between, say, 30 villages to 70 villages is a lot less than when it compares to 100 versus 60. As a proportion of the economy, demu is much better off in this scenario. It's got plenty of springles, actually, so it feels like at this point, really, the big danger unit will be the siege engines that Core has. Which, of course, demu should be well equipped to fight off and push away. Alright, well, looks like Core. He looks to be pushing out now. He has got a bit of a farming transition as well, so if he does lose the army, he's got a good amount of eco set up, but look at the economy here for the Jui Legacy. Despite having lost so many villagers, he's getting so much food out of this. Granted, not as much gold. Obviously, the hunting camp is playing to that a little bit. Oh, loses a springle for free there, Core. Demu picks one off. Good start to the engagement for sure. That's a lot of springles. Gonna snipe out the scouts as they move on in. Alright, it's go time. Core focusing on the keep for now with a good few bombards, 4 of them in fact. The big concern for Core though is he doesn't really have enough springles and he doesn't really have a melee unit to try and challenge those springles, right? He has to fight siege. He's got to win the siege fight. If he doesn't, he'll lose his siege, which is actually the majority of his army. Now starting to cause problems for demu for sure, taking out the villagers. Does snap out one springled. Oh, this is not looking too great for Core. His springles are getting all sniped, and I mean that will leave the bombards exposed, right? That's the big deal. And that's why this is important. Shallow monks have gap closed. They've got on top of the horse archers and the Streltsies alike. Although now it looks like the bombard's focusing on the springles. In fact, actually Core winning that springled fight really. Somehow, but the big problem is he doesn't have a meat shield, he doesn't have the melee unit for the front line, and that means the siege super exposed. The bombards now, whilst they're not going to be taken out by springles, they're going to be taken out by the Shaolin monks. And they're absolutely dishing out all sorts of damage. This is a big problem. Core, he's losing this fight and he's losing it big. Sure, he's got a great economy to fall back on, but ultimately, this is exactly what demu needed. He needed a fight just like this to come back from what was a horrendous raid earlier on. All of a sudden, the pendulum has swung, the tide has turned. And demu now looking to push onto the middle of the map and inflict even more damage. Now, good thing for Core, he has walled up, so we'll buy him some time, and considering these are fortified palisade walls, that certainly helps, but it's only going to keep these units out for a short period of time if they decide to push on in. That was kind of crazy. Demu clawing his way back into the game, I've got to say. He's actually got a military advantage, which, you know, kind of compensates for having the eco disadvantage. Oh no, he's trying to get these stables in the front position. Demu, yeah, he's going to take them out. That one did get built in the end, only just. Except maybe demu opting for the west side. But the main thing is that's a bit concerning for Core is that having lost the military superiority, now demu feels confident moving out, and as long as he keeps applying pressure here on the west side, that means he can boom away again and make sure that economy builds up again back at home, just to make the game even closer than it should be. After a fantastic start for Core in the Castle Age, it feels like it's in a rough position now, I've got to say. Never thought this would happen, but I guess the army of bald men have come in clutch for demu. That's a good number of springalds, but if he gets caught out, the stealth forest might be working out for demu here, coming in from the west side. I mean, he's going to try and get top of the springalds. That's a lot to take off. I mean, to be fair though, the militia should be adding to the fight. These guys, not much health on them, life on them left though. They're going to perish pretty quickly, and they didn't do that much actually in that fight. The shallow monks can just run away. Down they go. Streltsies, good number, but you know, not enough here. I think the bald men, they'll tank for it. Chukunu on the back line will work well. And all of a sudden, he's really taking some suboptimal fights here, Core. He's building up back at home, demu, and he's got plenty of food in the bank. Getting 2,000 food per minute, so that's just an insane amount of food. I mean, he could just keep this pumping, right? He just keeps it pumping. Gets more Shaolin monks and he's absolutely fine. He's laughing. They're not the cheapest unit, but considering the free, not free food, but the free flowing food that it's getting from the farms, it's definitely an easy unit to make. Considering it only costs 1 resource, actually, it's kind of crazy, right? It's definitely strong. It's got the wood in the back line, which actually, to be fair, if that gets exhausted and if the roosts do get control in the middle of the map, could be problematic, right? If there's a keep here, that denies that wood line, and this one's a bit too exposed to get out to. Elite Horsemen, going to try and get some raiding value, but looks like the Shaolin Monks, they do not want the pagoda to go down. They're going to challenge the Horsemen. Is he going to just go and try and torch this down? Because he's going to lose everything if he does. Or near enough everything. He's got the surround as well, so there's no real escaping from this position for a lot of these Horsemen. I mean, sure, he might not even get the pagoda in the end. Oh god, that's a waste of units. Holy smokes. He doesn't even get the pagoda. That's rough. And all the HP that's been lost about the Shaolin Monks, they just regenerate. It's such a crazy unit, right? It only costs food. You can be aggressive with it, attack, and then back away. As long as you don't lose the unit, they'll heal on up pretty quickly at rate, actually, gotta say. They healed up really fast. Looks like though Demu might be eyeing up this gold vein, right? Because there's not that much gold left in this gold vein here at the back. About 1,000 odd, so we'll need to make a move on out. Continues with the farms. As I say that, I mean, we're saying that gold's important, but I mean, when you got the Shaolin Monks, are they actually really that important? I'm not so sure anymore. That's the crazy thing about it. A handful of Nesta Bees. That's going to be important to have against the Streltsy. There's a lot of Springles coming his way, though. Goes on line formation. Again, not much of a melee meat shield. This is the concerning feature, right? Because the Shaolin Monks, they've got such good base HP that they've got a bit of time to be able to gap close on the Streltsy. Once they gap close, they dish out all sorts of damage and could even get top of the Springles. Looks like the Shaolin Monks coming in from the east side. Could get a flank actually out of this. Demu. Oh, he loses a Nesta Bees for free. Great initial engagement there by Core, but the Nesta Bees do fire. Good number of Shaolin Monks tanking on that front line, and look at the Streltsy. They're focusing on the Shaolin Monks, but they're doing all sorts of damage. Chukino on the back line, wiping them out. I mean, these are really expensive units for the Roost, right? And he's losing them all in a blink of an eye. Core, I don't know about this one. Might be taking his second fight that he's going to lose in a game. There's no Mangonels for him. Coming in with the reinforcements with the Horsemen, but only a handful of them, right? He needs a mass of them. I mean, the Chukunu are countered by the Horsemen, but with this number of Chukunu, like, if you trickle them in, the Horsemen will die. Here come the Shaolin Monks on the right side. They've rejoined the force, and they're going to be protecting the motherland. Horsemen diving on in, but Core slowly being pushed back. I mean, I'm not so sure there's a way back from this situation. Surprisingly enough, I mean, Demu doesn't have the military population, or the overall population that Core has, but it's the military population that's the significant thing. And these guys, they're so good. Doing 23 damage now. Courtesy of the elite army tactics, no doubt. And they're moving on out. This is looking a bit dicey for Core, right? I mean, he's got Siege here, which should survive, get behind the palisades. I'm not sure it's going to take that long for the Shaolin Monks to break on through, though. Bombards deploy. Streltsy behind them, so we'll suffer some losses. Horsemen going to drive on in. But once the gates get burnt, once the gates go down, it's going to be a problem. The Chukunu are able to fire over the top of the walls. Good Mangonel shot, though, for Core. That's a start to get back into the game, I think. He needs another couple of those. Chukunu managed to avoid most of the second volley. Doesn't manage to avoid the third. And he's going to be pushed back a little bit. But Demu, he tried to break on through. Lost a lot of units doing so. Good number of Mangonels. Bombards again coming out. The concern for the Bombard situation, it's good to have them, but he's not being able to do too much structural damage because he can't get close enough. Oh, more stone walls, and Demu recognizing that, hey, I'm being pushed back a little bit. Let's not get pushed back fully. Let's get those walls up. There's other wooden fortress there. You can definitely see the play for Core, just to keep an eye on the wood income. I'll try and deny the wood income as much as possible, which he's doing a decent job of, because I'm not sure that... I mean, he's got a decent amount left. I mean, that'll last him a bit of time. And considering really he's just focusing on Shaolin Monks, the wood usage is really coming out of the Chukunu. The fact they can get a unit that's fully food cost is kind of crazy. Fighting in the stealth forest though. Cool. Gonna look to break on through, and it does have stone walls, but with this number of bombards, shouldn't take long to break on through, especially with the mangonels as well. There she goes. Down she goes. But I gotta say that most of the military population for core is in the form of siege, which is great in one way, but also very dangerous, right? Because if there's no meat shield protecting this, if it gets jumped on, you lose everything in a blink of an eye, and it's very, very expensive units. Looks like maybe what's kind of awesome is that it feels like this game is almost heading towards a situation where we have like one big final fight, and I love those ones, the ones that kind of determine the end of the game. And it could just be the Shaolin Monks versus Siege at this point. Chukunu versus Mangonels. Alright, well, with Demo at 200 population, he feels confident moving out now. And why not? He's won a lot of the fights recently. Makes a lot of sense now to move on out. Which Core will be aware of now. Doesn't have the full vision of it, but he knows that Outpost was taken down. Gonna take care of the Rams first on the west side, and then move on out to in the middle, I guess. Siege, finding it difficult through the... Oh, wait, what's the pathing on these guys? They need to go through the gate, guys! And all good positions are farms, actually, behind this palisades. I mean, there's only a handful of them anyway, but... When Mangonels deploy, he tanked quite a bit then, but a couple of boardmen do perish. Oh, this is nice. He's going through the stealth forest, although he sees that anyway. Attacking the wooden fortress. It's something that he'll know about. Core needs to be careful. Needs to keep together. Needs to keep units in front of the siege mass, because if the siege mass gets jumped on, which looks like could be the case, this could be problematic for Core. It looks like the numbers are a little bit too overwhelming. The Roos having to back away. He's getting nervous. Those Shaolin Monks are super tanky, and he's going to dive on in. I mean, he will get some of the siege engines behind the palisades, but a lot of them will go down as well. Holy smokes. I mean, he's lost so much already. And the unit numbers just not looking good here for Core. Didn't have the infantry in front to protect. I mean, that gate won't last much longer. Handful of Mangonels. I mean, the fact that the Shaolin Monks aren't getting completely decimated by the Mangonels, I'm sure they're getting killed, but they're not getting decimated. That tells you everything you need to know. Jukunu are getting sniped, but he's going to get on top of it, and he's going to lose the siege mass. Militia drafted on in, but will it be enough? I'm not so sure. Core fighting this back, but even if he does fight this back, there's another wave of Jukunu, another wave of Shaolin Monks coming on in. 2 Mangonels still remain, but if that front line crumbles for Core, it's going to be tricky. Loses the Mangonels to the 2 Springhalls. Great addition there by Demo. I've got to say, that Mangonel just about survives. The biggest problem is it's just going to camp out this production, right? Chukunu picking off these horsemen, and the Shaolin Monks doing the same. And he's starting to really struggle here. Down to 6 military. This is not looking good for Core. And there it is. He taps out a great game of Age of Empires for the Jui Legacy. They're coming in with a bright future. The bright future is religious. The bright future is Shaolin Monks. The bright future is bald men. Hope you guys enjoyed this cast game on YouTube. And if you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.